All right, we're back with Chasin the Tone episode, whatever the hell this is, and we're here in yet another Enormo Dome of wherever this is, and I'm here with Paul Eason, who plays with Kevin Fowler. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Very good. We're dressed very similarly. They just pointed out, so we feel a little bit silly now that we've started this video. So we're off to a good start. Say that again, please.
You look good.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted them to make sure. They heard you say how good I look. So let's start with your guitars here, Paul, and you pick whatever one you want and give us the lowdown.
Cool. Yeah, this is the one I play the most. It's just a parts caster. It's obviously Telly style, but it's got a lot of little improvements, I guess, that I picked out for myself, like a compensated nut up here, locking tuners. Lindy Fralin split blade pickups, rudders, compensated saddles, just a bunch of little stuff like that. So I love this thing. I put a little cubic zirconia in there like Danny Gatton did, just to help me see it on dark stages. But anyways, this is my main guitar for most of the show.
And that's a split blade for both pickups.
Yeah, so that's a humbucker basically, but it's got a great single coil tone to me. It sounds and incredibly quiet. Like I've had hum come through a humbucker, but not these. So they do really really well.
And what gauge strings do you use on that?
These are 10s.
Do you use 10s on everything?
Yes, pretty much. I think yeah.
Even on Gibsons, or if you have anything like that, you use the same 10s.
Yes, I don't actually have a Gibsons. I got the Gretsch, and I use 10s on there too. But pretty much always 10s.
Okay, so this started at, now did you buy this, how much of this was like this? You said it's a parts caster, but how much was like this, and how much did you parts out yourself?
I bought it, I've got all the parts myself, and it's a Warmoth neck and body. Had that sent to MJT in Missouri, I think, and they do all the nitro painting. So basically everything I put together.
Okay, fantastic. And you play that most of the night?
Yeah, that's my main guitar.
Cool.
This is kind of my backup Telly at the moment. It's Esquire style. It's also exact same thing, just parts, and it's got most of the same features on here as that one does, except for it's got a Klein split. I guess where you can choose between a Esquire tap pickup, Esquire 60s Telly output, and that's kind of a weird tone Eldridge mod kind of thing on that side.
Yep, I tested out a guitar with an Esquire with an Eldridge mod, and it was interesting.
Yeah, I haven't found a place to use it yet, but it's cool sound.
So same thing, you just bought the pieces and put it all together?
Yep. I figured that way is so much cheaper than buying I bought the Fender sticker and put it on there, so it looks like it's the real deal. But
and so is this a backup, or do you use this for certain specific songs?
Right now, it's just a backup.
Okay.
This one, I actually do play this one in the show in a couple songs, and this is probably my new favorite here. It's a Gretsch Falcon Jr., and it's pretty ridiculous with all the gold sparkle, but I love it. It's super cool. And this is just the way it came. I haven't done anything to it, of course. So. And what pickups come in that? Those are TV Jones. But yeah, that's about all I know. All I know is that I really like it.
And okay, so when what type of tunes are you using this on?
I use it on a kind of a Western swing tune, and a kind of like a ballad, a little bit more rockin' ballad kind of thing.
Okay, when you use it on a Western swing tune, is that Butterbean?
Yeah.
Okay, and what pickup do you use when you play on that particular type of tune?
On the neck pickup. Yeah, and I usually always leave the tone. It's got this, kind of darker and really dark tone. I never use that either. I don't know.
What about, speaking of tone, what about for your Tellys as well as this? Do you ever actually use the tone knob on there?
I do, yeah. Actually, on my Tellys, I usually keep it about halfway down, something like that.
Okay, you're the first person that said yes to that, really. But I also do very similar things like that, and I think it's like the most underutilized thing you have at your disposal is the actual tone on the guitar. So I'm glad to hear that you do that. And why, in your opinion, why do you do that?
Tellys, especially that open G string, is just so bright especially if you're plucking with your fingers. it's it hurts your ears if you don't. But I did it for many years. I just both knobs all the way up, and eventually realized that's a little too bright probably. So yeah, now keep it about halfway.
Awesome. And so that's what you use throughout the whole night. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're back now with the pedal board. We are detached from your actual system here, but we're doing what we got to do. So go ahead and take us through this from start to finish.
All right. Yeah, so start at the wireless right here. Sennheiser comes in, hit the tuner. All right, so I guess this is a Gig Rig Quartermaster bypass switcher. So, if none of these were turned on, it would just go straight through and out of here. So anyways, I got tuner, which is the Sonic Research. EQ, I'm just using as an effect. It's a JHS modded Boss EQ, which is I just got all the lows and highs out of it right now for a little effect I do on a song. I got the Timmy, which I love for just a light overdrive kind of. I got this SL drive by Exotic. That's like kind of for the Marshall kind of sound, really overdriven. I only use that on a couple little tiny things on the Fowler show. Then the 808 modded by Analog Man is kind of my main overdrive. If I want something a little bit heavier.
And what does that mod do?
Oh, it makes it a lot better. I don't remember honestly right now. It's been a few years, but it sounds awesome to me. Then you got the boost is a JHS mini bomb, I think. And then from there it goes out to the timeline, and then stereo out of there into the Flint, which is tremolo and reverb, and that's stereo out to the 2 amps. So I'm running stereo the whole time.
Okay, so let's go back to this guy. What does this guy do right here?
That is the boost. It's just a clean boost.
So no, it doesn't color the sound then at all. So just cleaning it, just jacking it up, or what does it do?
Yeah, that's the idea. Maybe it colors it a little bit, but just louder, basically.
Okay, and this is what do we have? Just tone and drive. So there isn't even wait, we got a little guy here. Oh yeah, there's a little volume there, and that's the heavier one. This is the lighter one. This is in the middle.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, this is just for an effect. This, okay,
Oh, I missed
are you using this?
Yeah, that's on all the time. I forgot. It goes wireless compressor, then into the... No, hold on. Yeah, that's right. Compressor and then into the tuner. So I'll leave that on the whole time. But it's got the blend knob, so it's parallel compressing. I've just got a little underneath there just to thicken it up a little bit.
Okay, have you used other compressors before this and you eventually landed on this one because of something certain specific, or you just started with this one and you like it?
No, I've played a bunch, and a bunch of really nice ones too, and for whatever reason, I like the sound of that one the best, the Ego.
I hear people all the time, such as yourself, play with a compressor, especially in country music, and it sounds awesome. If I try to use a compressor, it sounds horrific, and I know what I don't want it to sound like. I mean, I understand the concept of what it should sound like, but perhaps it is just the compressors that I have tried before. Now, I have not tried this, although I always hear that this is kind of like the best one going. So you feel that this is total, and I mean, I've heard you, and it doesn't sound like you have a compressor going, which is the whole idea most of the time. So you just think that this is nice and transparent and...
Definitely, yeah. It's, like I said, it's got the blend knob, so most of the signal after that is still just my normal signal. It's just a little bit of that squashed. Basically, getting more sustain at the end of notes is all without affecting the attack. That's kind of the idea with that blend knob. So you basically got two different signals, a compressed signal and a dry signal, and then it's just blending those back together when it comes out.
Okay, well, I mean, that makes me want to use one, which is, I suppose, their whole idea. Okay, well, this is, there's some fancy pedals on here, but otherwise, this isn't that complex, really.
Yeah, it's, it's pretty simple. Really, I should have less pedals for Kevin Fowler because it's, it's mostly clean, maybe an overdrive, and then, the rest of it's kind of just because I like to mess around with stuff, really.
Fair enough. So some of it doesn't even get used all that much in this particular gig.
Yeah, that SL drive, even though it sounds great, I don't use it a whole bunch. EQ I use for maybe 30 seconds. So. And
so with the timeline, do you, especially in a gig like this, are you using a slapback type of setting anywhere in the show?
Yes, there's a couple songs where I've got just a quick slap on there. Most of the time I've got a little bit longer with maybe like 2 repeats, but you know, it's never noticeable except for on like ballads where I'll have a longer, maybe you know, something aligned with the tempo, I guess, on slow songs, but that's about it.
So generally then, for your even like, you know, chicken picking, snappy, sort of traditional type country tunes, it's just dry.
No. Usually I've got a little bit of that. I guess I wouldn't call it slapback exactly, but I guess that's what it is. Just a little bit longer than just a regular slapback delay. But I've usually got some delay on there, and I've always got reverb on too. So. Okay,
so you consider then that kind of delay kind of a staple for what it is that you're doing right here then?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Because I go back and forth with that because I hear Brad Paisley, for example, who has that a lot of the time, and I go, yeah, okay, that sounds like some country ass guitar there. And then I hear lots of other guitar players, or even Brent Mason these days, or even a lot of players like they don't have it, they're just playing dry, or like Albert Lee or whatever. And so I teeter back and forth. But you personally, this gig aside, what would you do if you were playing a snappy country tune? And nobody told you had to do it, would you still want that on there?
Yeah, I like it, yeah. It definitely fills up the sound, especially, I feel like, more in a live situation because you don't have as many instruments filling up the space, kind of, a little bit of that delay kind of makes it bigger sounding to me. I don't know, fills it up. And as soon as I'm as good as Brent Mason and Albert Lee, I'll probably turn it off, so.
Well, I agree. I think that it's a cool sound, but I go back and forth depending on who I've heard lately. Sometimes I hear somebody that doesn't use it, and I go back and forth. Okay, well, awesome. We will get to your amps hopefully at some point, and if we don't, just in case we don't, let me ask the most important questions before I forget. First of all, do you like craft beer?
Yes.
I like the enthusiasm in that answer. And okay, so you don't have to name your very favorite, but what are 1 or 2 or 3 you like particularly?
Oh, craft beers. Oh, interesting.
Because I love craft beer, and I want to know other craft beers so that I can drink them.
Okay. Oof. Man, it's hard to keep up these days, but I like all Austin Beer Works stuff. I've always been a Real Ale fan also. Man, there's a lot of Avery. That's maybe my favorite brewery, I guess. Avery in Boulder, Colorado. Lots of awesome IPAs and stuff. Maharaja maybe? Avery Maharaja, that might be.
We have some Austin Beer Works Bloodwork Orange. I don't know if you ever had that IPA in our on the bus right now. It's so good. Our guy that used to work for us now works at Austin Beer Works, so we got all the hookups there. But okay, and then the final question, which is important for me. I don't know if it's important for anybody else. I am the biggest fan of Christmas that there ever was. I know that may seem. I know a lot of people are surprised by that. So first of all, do you like Christmas music? Think about that before you answer it.
I like it. I just get tired of it sometimes.
Okay, that's the wrong answer. So the next thing is then what are, again, 1, 2, 3 Christmas songs that you like to hear every year?
Holy moly. Oh, man, there are some really good ones.
You better believe there are.
You're really putting me on the spot. Oh, man. I don't know. Man, you may have to give me a second to think about it. I don't know. I can't think of anything on top of my head.
How about I suggest some?
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No. Well, I love, my favorite's probably Andy Williams, who made like 8 Christmas albums. Like It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. It's a wonderful song. There's a lot of jazz and like real cool progressions and stuff.
It's hard to play Christmas songs, actually.
Really, really tough. Yeah, those are serious. That's not 3 chords in the truth. That's a lot more than 3 chords. But that's okay. We're gonna, when we go back and do your amps, we'll come back to you. Okay, cool. All right.